Hello all, welcome back to Time to Dice Character Creation, where we make your favorite fictional characters in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Today, we're building everyone's favorite billionaire orphan turned superhero. Okay, no, not that one. No, not that one either. Okay, he's not even a hero in most universes. We're making Batman. Batman both funds the Justice League and serves as its tactician and leader. At least, whenever Superman conveniently isn't around. And let's be real, the writers will jump at any excuse to sideline Superman. So beware of spoilers, and without further ado, let's get started. So what do we need to make the Caped Crusader? Well, first off, we need to throw hands. And I'm not just talking about in a bar brawl kind of way. Batman's a master of hand-to-hand combat, but he's also trained in batarangs, swords, and basically every weapon known to man. Next, we need to be the world's greatest detective. When one of your main villains literally calls himself the Riddler, you better have the brains to keep up. And finally, we need to be Gotham's guardian, the relentless hunter who tracks down criminals and gets them off the streets permanently. Or, at least until Arkham's revolving door policy kicks in, putting them back on the streets within a week. For our ancestry, we're going to go human. Normally, this is where I'd rant about how every fictional character somehow ends up being human, but in Batman's case, it's a core part of his identity. Bruce is the only normal guy in a team of superpowered gods, and honestly, he loves it, because it means enemies are constantly underestimating him, giving him a chance to exploit any weaknesses he can find. As a human, Bruce starts with 8 hit points, a medium size, and an attribute boost to both strength and intelligence. And since we have to be sneaky, let's take the skilled heritage to grab training and stealth right off the bat, which will automatically bump up to expert proficiency at level 5. For our background, the world's greatest detective is obviously taking the detective background. This gives us an attribute boost to wisdom and dexterity, both essential for Batman's keen mind and quick reflexes. We also get training in society and underworld lore, because let's face it, Bruce knows Gotham's criminal network better than they do. And finally, we pick up the streetwise skill feat, letting us use our society modifier instead of our diplomacy. Batman doesn't ask around for information. He already knows everything he needs to before the conversation even starts. Honestly, you can slap Batman into just about any martial class and make it work. Fighter or monk for his martial arts mastery, ranger for his relentless pursuit of criminals, rogue or swashbuckler for his absurd number of skills and mobility. Heck, I even built an inventor Batman once who used the Construct Companion as the Batmobile. There's no wrong way to do it. But the most correct way? Investigator. As an investigator, we get 8 plus con hit points per level, expert proficiency in reflex and will saves, and training and fortitude saves. Batman regularly pulls off ridiculous acrobatics and has a mind sharper than a batarang, so this fits him like a glove. We also get 8 more skill trainings to round out Batman's expertise. Society and survival help us track down criminals through Gotham's back alleys. Acrobatics and athletics cover his insane combat maneuvers. Deception and intimidation let him handle situations where his fists aren't the answer. Arcana helps him deal with the more mystical nonsense that keeps popping up in the DC universe. And medicine lets him pat himself up, because Bruce would have a pretty hard time explaining to a doctor where he got all those cuts and bruises. And to top it off, we get training in simple and martial weapons, because if it exists, Batman knows how to use it. And training in light armor, which fits since Bruce prefers mobility over clunky full plate. After all, you can't strike fear into the hearts of criminals if you're clinking around like a walking tin can. For our attributes, we start with a +2 to both strength and dexterity. Batman is at peak human condition, even if that doesn't mean much when you're sitting next to Superman. Constitution is at a +0, which I don't particularly like, but hey, it's Pathfinder. We can't max out everything. Intelligence is at a +3, because Bruce's best weapon isn't his fist, it's his mind. Wisdom is at a +2. He needs sharp instincts, especially when interrogating criminals and seeing through their lies. And finally, Charisma sits at a +0. Sure, we'd love a boost to intimidation, but there are definitely more important stats to focus on. This stat allocation isn't exactly min-max by any means, but this channel is about getting the right balance for the character, not making the statistically best character possible. If you're liking this build so far, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel to see more. And if you don't like what you're seeing, make sure to leave us a comment telling us exactly how wrong we are and how you would build Batman. At level 1, we immediately face a choice with our investigator methodology, and honestly, any of these options would fit great for Batman, but we're going with alchemical sciences. This choice gives us a number of versatile vials equal to our intelligence modifier each day that we can use as bombs, but more importantly, it grants us the quick tincture action. allowing us to convert one of these vials into an alchemical tool or elixir we know how to craft. This means we get limited access to flashbangs, smoke bombs, or even shark repellent, because hey, you never know. We also get access to the Investigator's Toolkit at this level. This includes Pursue a Lead, which lets us focus on a case, giving us a +1 on all perception checks and skill checks to investigate that case. Clue In lets us use a reaction to grant that same bonus to an ally. Then there's Devise a Stratagem. This lets us take an action to come up with a strategy on taking down any foe we see. We roll a d20 and decide whether to use an attack stratagem or a skill stratagem. If we go with an attack stratagem, the next attack we make uses that d20 roll, and if it's an agile or finesse attack, we add our intelligence modifier rather than our strength or dexterity. And if that wasn't enough, we get strategic as strike, allowing us to add extra precision damage to that attack. But if the original roll wasn't high enough, we can instead use a skill stratagem, giving us a +1 bonus to our next intelligence, wisdom, or charisma-based skill check this round. We also get an ancestry feat. Let's pick up natural skill, which grants us 2 more skill trainings of our choice. Occultism will help us understand the more cosmic characters and forces in the universe, while nature gives us insight into the wild and untamed threats that Batman sometimes has to face. And finally, we also pick up the known weakness class feat. This allows us to recall knowledge whenever we use Devise a Stratagem. Not only does this give us valuable intel on a foe, but on a critical success, it also grants our ally to +1 to their next attack roll. Little known fact about Batman: that's not actually his real name. But you'd never know that because Bruce Wayne is so good at keeping his secret identity under wraps. And at level 2, we can do the same with the Vigilante dedication, which lets us split into 2 equally true identities, Batman and Bruce Wayne. This means anyone trying to figure out that we are both identities must make a seek check against our deception modifier +10. We also gain terrifying resistance, which gives us a +1 circumstance bonus against all saving throws against a creature that we've already frightened. At level 3, we get the Fleet feat, giving us a 5-foot bonus to movement speed, allowing us to catch up for fleeing criminals with ease. And the Keen Recollection feature lets us add our level to skill checks to recall knowledge, even if we're untrained. At level 4, we finally get the keys to the Batcave with the Safe House feat. This grants us a secure hideout that's constantly protected by a veil of privacy, using our deception modifier to keep it hidden, even from magical detection. We also pick up Lasting Coercion, which lets our intimidation stick with our targets long after we're gone. When Batman warns someone to stay out of trouble, they don't just forget about it the next day. They remember, and they think twice about stepping out of line again. Well, unless they're the Joker. At level 5, we pick up Natural Ambition Ancestry feat to grab the That's Odd class feat. This means we always know if there's a clue in the area. Perfect for the world's greatest detective. It won't tell us what type of clue it is, but that just means we get to do some classic Batman investigating. We also pick up Group Coercion, letting us intimidate entire gangs at once. Now, instead of scaring off thugs one by one, we can drop in from the shadows and send a whole crew running in terror. And finally, at this level, we gain Weapon Expertise, boosting our proficiency with simple and martial weapons to Expert. At level 6, we grab Startling Appearance, which lets us drop down on an unsuspecting foe, strike them, and leave them both off guard and frightened for the rest of our turn. Classic Batman entrance: strike fear first, ask questions later. And since we're picking up the habit of dramatic rooftop drops, we're also going to pick up the Catfall skill feat. This way, we can leap from the tallest buildings in Gotham without shattering our ankles. At level 7, we're going to pick up 2 terrifyingly effective skill feats. Battle Cry lets us make intimidation skill check to demoralize foes as a free action whenever we roll initiative. Now, we don't have to wait to instill fear. We walk into a fight and criminals are already shaking. And the Terrified Retreat skill feat lets us kick things up a notch. When we critically succeed in a demoralized attempt, the target doesn't just get scared, they flee for a round. That's right, we can officially make goons straight up run for their lives before we even throw a punch. On top of that, we get 2 investigator features at this level. Vigilant Senses boost our perception proficiency to Master, because nothing gets past the Batman. And Weapon Specialization increases our damage with our strikes, making every strike hit harder. At level 8, we grab Predictive Purchase, letting us always have the perfect piece of mundane gear on hand. And the Fleeing Diversion skill feat is perfect for those moments when people look back to see Batman is nowhere to be seen. At level 9, we're going to pick up the Multi-Talented Ancestry feat to grab Monk Dedication, upgrading our unarmed strikes to D6s. Now, Batman's punches hit even harder. Sometimes a good right hook is all the justice Gotham needs. We also get Fortitude Expertise and Investigator's Expertise, boosting both our Fortitude proficiency and Class DC up to Expert, making us tougher and sharper in every encounter. At level 10, we're going to go ahead and pick up Flurry of Blows from the Monk archetype, letting us make 2 unarmed strikes in a single action, and combine the damage before applying resistances, perfect for overwhelming foes with rapid strikes. We also get Rapid Mantle, making it even easier to pull ourselves onto rooftops, because what's Batman without a dramatic rooftop chase scene? At level 11, we shore up our durability with Toughness, giving us extra hit points to compensate for our lack of Constitution investment. We also sharpen our investigative skills with Biographical Eye, letting us pick up clues about the target's life just by looking at them, and Deductive Improvisation, allowing us to attempt skill checks as if we're 1 proficiency rank higher. Finally, Dogged Will upgrades our will saves to Master and turns all successful will saves into critical successes, meaning Batman is nearly unshakable against mental effects like the Scarecrow. At level 12, we enhance our fear tactics with Frightening Appearance, upgrading our Startling Appearance feat so that whenever we ambush an enemy, we also demoralize every unaware foe within 10 feet. And the Quick Jump skill feat enhances both our long jumps and high jumps, having the time it takes to complete them, as well as eliminating the need for a running start. At level 13, we make Batman even harder to put down with the Bounce Back feat, letting us recover quickly and stay in the fight, even after taking a hit from Darkseid. We also sharpen our combat and awareness skills. Incredible Senses upgrades our perception to legendary, Batman sees everything. Light Armor Expertise boosts our proficiency to expert, making us even harder to hit. And Weapon Mastery increases our weapon proficiency to master, ensuring every strike lands with precision. At level 14, we're going to go ahead and kick Batman's intellect into overdrive with the Reason Rapidly class feat, letting us recall knowledge 5 times in a single action, letting us get information about the Joker, Harley Quinn, Scarecrow, the Penguin, and Two-Face all at once. And the Swift Sneak skill feat allows us to move at full speed while sneaking. It would be pretty embarrassing if during one of our disappearing acts, the foe turned around to see that we hadn't quite made it around the corner yet. At level 15, we'll ensure that Batman is always 1 step ahead with Incredible Initiative, giving us a boost to initiative so foes never get the drop on us. The Slippery Secret skill feat makes us so good at resisting interrogation that not even magic can pry our secrets away from us. Greater Weapon Specialization increases our weapon damage even further, and Savvy Reflexes upgrades our reflex saves to master and turns successes into critical successes. At level 16, we activate full detective mode with the Reconstruct the Scene feat. This feat lets us take a minute to examine the clues and piece together a timeline of events that happened within the last day. We can determine things like if someone was attacked and whether they put up a fight back, though we still can't pinpoint the culprits. We also grab Rolling Landing, allowing us to use our reaction to move after falling and avoiding the fall damage. At level 17, we're not just the hero that Gotham needs, we're the hero that Gotham needs to deserve to want, or something like that. We're taking the Heroic Presence feat to inspire all of Gotham. And the Quick Coercion skill feat allows us to intimidate enemies immediately, without needing the usual minute of build-up. Finally, Greater Dogged Will pushes our will saves to legendary, turning our critical failures into regular failures, and letting us ignore damage from failed will saves, because no amount of mental pressure can break the Batman. At level 18, we gain Strategic Bypass, allowing us to ignore a target's resistance equal to our intelligence modifier. Fighting Kryptonian? Put a little kryptonite in your glove to make sure your strikes pack a little bit more of a punch. We also pick up Eyes of the City, boosting our ability to track down foes, letting us attempt a society check or a diplomacy check to gather information and follow leads. Batman always has an ear to the ground in Gotham. At level 19, we pick up Foil Senses, allowing us to stay hidden from foes, even if they have supernatural detection, like Scent or Life Sense. And the Kip Up skill feat ensures that even when Bane breaks our back, we can push through the pain and get right back up to deliver some well-deserved justice. We also get 2 investigator features. Light Armor Mastery increases our defense, and Master Detective makes us even sharper at uncovering the truth by automatically alerting us whenever we enter a new area if there is a clue to our current case and what form the clue it takes, be it a person, object, or spell effect. And at level 20, we ensure we have contingencies for every Justice League member, with the class feat, Everyone's a Suspect. This feat ensures that we have an active case against anyone who we've interacted with for at least a minute, meaning Batman always has a plan to take down even his allies if necessary. It may seem cold and uncaring, but in reality, it's the ultimate proof of Batman's dedication to protecting the world. And finally, we pick up the legendary Sneak skill feat, making us a true creature of the night, allowing us to hide anywhere, anytime, No need for even cover or concealment. Alright, that's the build taken care of. Now let's take a look at the pros and cons. First off, we're a master combatant, with master proficiency in all weapons, greater weapon specialization, and strategic strike to boost their damage. And just about every skill in the game, you can be sure that there's almost no situation that we won't be able to contribute to. Next, turns out being trained by super secret ninjas has a few upsides. With skill feats like legendary sneak and foil senses, you can be sure the only way enemies are fighting us is if we want them to. And finally, we're not just good in a fight. Between our on the case feature and class feats like reconstruct the scene, we truly live up to our role as the world's greatest detective. For cons, however, we should probably start with the low constitution. No matter how good at planning you are, if you're in the front lines without the hit points to take a couple of attacks, you might be in the wrong place. Next, a lot of our best combat feats rely on us being unnoticed in combat, and while we may have the skill feats to pull that off, there's no guarantee that your teammates will have that as well. And finally, striking from the shadows is great, but once you've done that, there's no way to become unnoticed by the enemy again, meaning a lot of our tactics are heavily front-loaded, so if a fight starts to go on, we may run out of options fast. Overall, Batman is a stealthy, tactical powerhouse, with tools to handle just about any situation. He may not hit as hard as a raging barbarian or sling spells like a wizard, but his intellect, preparation, and skill set make him one of the most dangerous characters in the game. And there you have it, Batman in Pathfinder 2e, a master of combat, stealth, and strategy, ready to take on anything the game throws at him. If you enjoyed this breakdown, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on future character builds. And let me know in the comments who you would like to see in those future character builds. But until then, keep rolling high, and I'll catch you in the next one.